Is it me, or does Zelda Echoes of Wisdom sound like a dig? As in, we had a look in Zelda's ear, but all we found was some echoes of wisdom. Oh come on, is that any way to mark this occasion? After all these years, finally, a Legend of Zelda game that's actually named after the character you play as. Although calling it Legend of Link would have been only fair, if you ask me. All those times Link pushed himself to his last heart container, saving the kingdom, only for some moony tart who spent most of the time sitting around scoffing French fancies to take all the credit. Competence will only get you so far if you're not willing to advocate for yourself, Link mate. You'd get eaten alive in the tech industry. But anyway, yes, Echoes of Wisdom is a top-down Zelda game with the art style of the Link's Awakening remake, where everything looks like it came out of a Kinder Surprise, in which we play as Zelda battling the requisite evil cosmic darkness that has afflicted Hyrule because Link's busy off-screen, 100%ing the fishing minigame or whatever, and it's, well, frankly, it's not very good. In fact, I might go as far to say that it's bad, which is fucking awkward. Now I have to counter accusations of being both a Nintendo hater and a misogynist. My daughter likes Mario, and the other day she said, "I love you, Daddy, thank you for not being a misogynist." The plot is, big purple cracks are appearing across Hyrule with evil designs in mind, purple being the standard colour for evil, thanks to its association with the Green Goblin's underpants. People are being sucked in and evil clones are being spat out. The king gets evil cloned and Zelda has to go on the run, cunningly disguising herself by putting up her hood, not taking her crown off, and introducing herself as Zelda to everyone she meets. She must travel across the land, solving each community's problems, which usually centre around a dirty great purple crack running through the chief's house. Zelda has to go in and complete a dungeon with the help of a bunch of holidaying Lumas from Super Mario Galaxy. Pretty standard Zelda arrangement. You've got the volcano where the Gorons live, you've got the ocean where the Zora live, there's a snowy bit, there's a jungle bit, there's a couple of side activities helmed by NPCs with an enthusiasm for that activity, which can only be described as sexually charged. The central gimmick is the Echoes system. Zelda has the ability to copy things and spawn her own versions of them. I read somewhere that some of the core superpowers in Tears of the Kingdom started out as debugging tools, and that's exactly what this feels like as well. Like Princess Zelda figured out how to hack the level editor, especially when I'm constructing a suspension bridge out of beds because I can't be asked to deal with a platforming puzzle or mandatory stealth section. You can also copy and spawn monsters to aid you in combat, and by aid I mean do all the combat for you while you sit around doing your dailies. Zelda can't do combat herself. Well, she can use magic to transform into Link with a little musical jingle with the same energy as the Popeye the Sailor Man theme, but it doesn't last long and the magic's hard to come by, so most of the time you'll rely on spawning in bigger monsters. I think the point of severely limiting Zelda's ability to fight directly is to emphasize her status as an avatar of wisdom who solves problems in clever, indirect ways, but most of the time you only display as much wisdom as the British military did during the First World War, because I'd mostly just spawn a shield moblin, shove them into no man's land to enjoy their fleeting 3 seconds of consciousness before something kills them, and then immediately spawn in a replacement at zero cost. This all culminates in a final level in which the game forces Zelda to give up her ability to turn into Link so Link can have his sword back. Oh sure, be my guest, mate. I certainly don't resent all the side questing and resources I used up upgrading my magic bar and sword damage. Now, knock yourself out. Then Link literally fights the final boss for you. All you have to do is spawn monsters in to help him out and dodge the attacks. And how is one to interpret this other than the game saying, okay, you've had your fun pretending to be the hero, now go sit over there and try to avoid breaking a nail while the men take care of things. And having to fucking subcontract the combat wouldn't be so galling if the monsters you spawn could keep their head in the game, but if you're lucky they'll get one hit in and then forget what they were supposed to be doing because they've got the AI of the drummer from Chumbawamba. To say nothing of the fact that giving life to an endless stream of living beings so that they can immediately die to remove a mild inconvenience from the path of a privileged rich white lady is not something the game ever interrogates from an ethical perspective. I mean, Zelda would be in real trouble if the Octoroks ever thought to fucking unionize. It was the final boss thing that fully soured me to the game, I think, but I had a pretty good pucker going already. It was a lot of little things, like the way the menu for selecting echoes is a horizontal strip, which is fine until you've unlocked hundreds of the fuckers, and scrolling around looking for the one you want is like working in a zipper testing facility. But the broadest issue for me is that the game's economy is Zimbabwean in its fuckedness, which I guess makes sense in a game where I can shoot unlimited free beds out of my armpits. Every time I'd find a hidden chest or complete a side mission and get rewarded with rupees, I'd go, well, what the fuck am I supposed to spend this on? My main use for rupees was buying more accessory slots at the Great Fairy Fountain, and it wasn't long before I had as many slots as accessories that I'd found. The other thing chests like rewarding you with is smoothie ingredients. This is the cooking mechanic. You combine 2 ingredients to make a smoothie that restores health and affords other buffs. Fine. But the very first smoothies out of the very first ingredients I scraped out of a bin behind the starting castle all restored like 10-15 hearts when I still only had a maximum of 3. So for most of the game I was lugging around enough protein shakes to fully immerse Arnold Schwarzenegger, and the funniest part was I didn't even need them. Because if you spawn one of those infinite free beds and lie on it for 3 minutes, Zelda gets all her health back anyway. Again, hard not to read this as going easy on the little dainty-wainty girly whirl, but I'm not going to get mad at arguable misogyny when I can get much more turgidly mad at core game design that just doesn't bloody work. The ability to shoot free ladders out of your training bra suggests a game based around exploration, but a fucked economy means nothing has value, and there's nothing that can reward the exploration. I only found out you can ride horses after I'd already beaten the game, because the stables aren't on the critical path. You have to do a side quest to unlock it, and even when you do, the world isn't big enough, nor the horses fast enough to make it worth the bother to spawn a carrot and wait for the prissy twats to show up, when you could be halfway there on another bed bridge by now. Or Or just fast travel, that's even easier till we teach the moblins how to hold up a sedan chair. Buck your ideas up, Dobbin. If I can't find a use for your lazy art, I know some low-rent British supermarkets that can, and not for rounding up the fucking trolleys.
Remember the last time you played a tabletop RPG and your friend cast the fireball spell, killing all the enemies and exploding your whole adventuring party? I know they say that living well is the best revenge. Well, how about you play as a living fireball spell and let revenge be the best revenge with Battlezoo Ancestry's Year of Titans. Once a month for the next year, you'll receive a unique playable species you won't find anywhere else for your D&D 5th edition or Pathfinder 2e games. Now you can play as a living spell, a skillful cyclops, a wicked troll, or even a mighty kraken. And those are just the ones I can pronounce. An hair jar?
It's pronounced ein hairyar.
Say tires?
It's satyrs.
Okay, I think I got this one. Dual hand.
Doulahan. It's a headless horseman from Irish folklore, you gigantic tit.
Every month you'll receive a new PDF or Foundry VTT module, along with handmade battle maps, tokens for your virtual tabletop, both static and animated, and detailed in-world lore entries, allowing you to easily add these unique species to your next tabletop session. All this and more for less than a monthly Egg McMuffin. Delicious. Head on over to the link in the description to learn more, because if you sign up for the Kickstarter, you'll get a bonus species a year early. The Mighty Titan. That's 13 unique species throughout 2025 to amaze your friends and family. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have to call my Dungeon Master and tell them that I'm going to be playing as Godzilla from now on. Godzilla.